Hey YouTube, welcome to my messy workstation here. I want to go over something that'll probably help a lot of people out because it drove me crazy. It's a video about the XYZ axis limit switches on your 3D printer. Mine happens to be an Aquila Voxelab, but Enders and a lot of different ones use the same part. And they're pretty cheap components. You see it right here. It doesn't actually come with this black piece on it. It's just this micro switch right here. So what the problem is I thought I couldn't figure out how my Z-axis was losing calibration with the plate. Because I set mine, some people do it different ways. I actually use a feeler gauge. And I break out the 2/1000 feeler gauge. And, I actually manually control it. So what I do is I heat the whole unit up because the bed expands when it warms up. So you want to make sure it's up to operating temperature. Then I control my X-axis and my Y-axis manually. And I go around to each corner of the table and manually set it with a 2/1000 feeler gauge. Okay? So once I've set it, it stays fine. I never have to touch it again until, I either change the tape or something like that on the bed. But lately, I've been having problems where, for some reason, the calibration would become off and the print nozzle would be too far away from the bed and it would start printing the first layer and it wouldn't stick to the plate. And I was like, okay, so I recalibrated it again. And then after I recalibrated, I went to print. And then the print head was too close to the bed. It was actually so close that the print nozzle was up against the tape. And it wouldn't even let any filament squeeze out. And it started, the feed motor up there started jamming and popping. And I was like, what is going on here? So I stepped back and I'm thinking, I'm like, what's different? What's changed about this? So I ran it through a rehome procedure, which it does anyway before you print anything. It always homes. And I started going back to remembering how this works now. When it homes, Z-axis has a little tab down there and it comes down. It goes back up and stops just like that. There's always 2 clicks. And I'm watching it. And it only comes down and then goes back up and does that. I'm like, wait a minute. That's only 1 click. Why isn't it clicking? So, as you can see over there, now these switches have 2 sides. You've got your common over here. Then you've got normally open, which is the middle one right there. And the one I'm hooked to is the normally closed. Okay? So, now I'm theorizing here that when this switch opens and closes and it switches from normally open to normally closed, that's supposed to happen simultaneously with just the 1 click. Hear the click? But what I can show you with my meter, and it's very delicate, so I'm going to have to do it a couple times, but you'll see this switch must be worn out because it's actually breaking slightly contact right before it clips. Did you see it there? See how it moved? See it? But it's not clicking yet. See that? All I'm doing is I'm just pushing it till it almost clicks. But it should be 100% fully closed and latched. Oh, you see it jumped to 8 there? So this switch is worn. So the discrepancy between the software must be monitoring both sides. Or no. I'm sorry, no it's not. Because as we can see here, there's only 2 wires. It doesn't even use this middle one. Okay, so there's a discrepancy between that and all the way down, which is right there, which is where it stops, because that'll be 0. That'll be z-axis 0 right there. But there's probably, I'd say, somewhere between 2 to 5 thousandths of discrepancy between where it first, falters or wavers. Okay, you see how it just blipped up to 9 there? In my mind, the software is saying, okay, we just lost contact, time to go back up and come back down to the final resting position. And yeah, so this switch is worn and I need to replace it because, even though all 3 axes use the same switch, this is the only crucial one. 3 to 5 thousandths is not really going to make a big difference on your your x-axis or your y-axis. Not really going to make a big difference. You probably never even realize it's bad. But for the z-axis, that has to be 100% right on the money. So that's what I've discovered, and that's what I wanted to point out. These things are fairly cheap. I ordered a 3-pack of them off Amazon for I think $8 or something. I was at first just going to buy the switches off Alibaba and solder them onto the board, but I can get the boards pretty cheap. So yeah, if you're having a problem where it seems like your machine is losing calibration somehow, and you calibrated it right, but it's either too close or too far away, I would say that your z-axis limit switch is going bad. Even though you hear it click, it's fine, but right there at the very edge, right before it snaps, it's starting to lose contact. And that little bit of, do you see it just jump to 60 there? That's me playing with it right here. But that's just wanted to point that out. So if you are having those kind of problems, replace that limit switch. Now, I think it's going to be interesting to reset this switch because it has to be positioned perfectly on the side over here. Okay, so it bolts up right in here. So I'm going to have fun setting this to get it perfect, but I'm pretty sure I can handle it. But that's it, YouTube. Just wanted to point that out. Hey guys, just wanted to tag on the end here real quick. I got the switch back on the machine. It wasn't that hard to get it put in the right spot. But I want you to listen to something. Now that I've been messing around with the switch, it's working right again for now, but I want you to notice the 2 clicks. So pay attention. Alright, you see that? Or you hear that first click? When it's messing up, it doesn't do that first click. So, to me, that's a dead giveaway to it not working right. So, keep an eye out on your machine and listen if it's doing that. I think mine's working okay right this minute because I've been playing with it, having it upside down, turning it all around. So, I'm going to try to continue on with my print until I get my replacement switch in the mail. But just wanted to show you what I was talking about.